Hello everybody, thank you for joining us and we appreciate you taking time to review our ScriptLESS framework. Today we'll be discussing business process testing using UFT and SA's ScriptLESS Add-in. A quick run through our agenda today. We'll start with a brief introduction into our framework. We will look into the building blocks of our ScriptLESS framework. We will take a quick peek at the automation cycle. We'll also look at the resources and roles required in implementing this framework, followed by a brief demo, and then we will end with some information regarding the services we offer. As you all know, test automation is becoming very important in this agile and DevOps world. As agile processes become more and more accepted in the development community, we have shorter sprints with new features added every week or bi-weekly. These new processes have made managing the dev cycles easy, but when it comes to testing, we cannot compromise with regression testing. We don't have the luxury of time to conduct regression testing in the old fashion where we mainly dependent on manual testing. We cannot catch up with these agile methodologies without automating our tests. Automation is critical to achieve our goals, and we have to also accomplish it without compromising time, quality, and resources. Before we dive into the details of our framework, we'll also discuss a little bit about BPT. What is BPT? If you have worked with UFT and ALM, you know that if we have BPT license, we can create components, test plans, and test sets, and manage our end-to-end business process testing. However, for users without ALM or BPT license, SA's framework will enable them to implement the same using UFT. For users with ALM, creating tests will become even more simpler and faster within 15 seconds actually, which will help you achieve your testing goals very sooner. Not just that, you will be able to utilize your entire team, technical as well as non-technical resources, in implementing your regression tests. Business process testing is a great approach and can be easily achieved with automation. But when it comes to automation itself, the framework plays a very key role. It has to be easy to use and maintain. It has to be flexible, yet it also has to work seamlessly across applications. SA's ScriptLESS framework is one such framework that has been put together by experienced architects who have been working in this field for over 20 years. SA's framework is basically a hybrid framework. It is modular, completely data-driven, keyword-driven, and most important, it is scriptless. When we say modular, we create tests per screen or frame, irrespective of the application under test. Be it a Windows application, a terminal emulator application, a Sybase application, we create tests at the page or frame level. It is not only easy to create and manage, but it also makes it highly customizable. With this modular tests, you can use them in all the scenarios where the user navigates through that particular frame or screen. It is completely data-driven. There is no hard-coded values that go into our tests. So it further enhances modularity. It also gives us flexibility to customize it. Further, it has built-in libraries which have keywords that perform some standard operations that are applicable across applications. Last but not the least, the framework is scriptless. Scriptless for our users. The users need not know VB scripting. They don't have to have experience using UFT. They'll be able to create test plans and test sets using few mouse clicks. Further, the framework enables test automation team overcome the challenges that we have been facing. First factor is a time factor. When a test automation engineer has to create test for a page or screen that has 60 to 70 objects, it usually takes an hour or two. They ended up creating linear function-based tests with few steps in them. Some of the experts relied upon scripting. This way of creating tests made it non-reusable and very costly for maintenance. But with our framework, we are eliminating this challenge by creating tests for such frames with 60 to 70 objects in them in 15 seconds. The next challenge that we'll discuss is the resource factor. We require technical resources at all levels. But with our scriptless framework, we don't have resource restriction. Everybody in our team can participate in creating our regression tests for us. If there's a time crunch, we can involve our BAs. We can involve our manual testers. Everybody can be part of this automation group now. Lastly, we'll discuss about the most important issue that any tester faces: data. Data has always been a pain point, and especially in traditional frameworks where we use global data sheet in UFT, and when a test had 20 to 30 steps, all the parameters span across the data sheet. Understanding the scenario was difficult. Scrolling across and navigating across this data sheets was very time consuming effort. But with SA's GlobalDT, we provide a data sheet where you can review the data that goes into an end-to-end scenario in one place. You can see all the data that is available for a test or a test plan in one location. Further, the vertical view avoids scrolling and enables easy update and reviewing. It is 80% more effective in catching data issues when compared to traditional global data sheets. In addition, the data set itself is modular. The test plan scenario is available in all the test sets that they get included. So the data is also reusable. All these aspects of our framework enables you to create your automation tests very quickly. It will help us achieve our automation goals sooner. Now let's look into the building blocks of this framework. As previously mentioned, it comes pre-built with libraries that will enable managing data, as well as has some key operations that are used extensively across applications. Tests are our building blocks. We create them per screen or per frame, and our test plans are nothing but set of tests that manages a particular business process. Test sets are nothing but group of test plans which will help us accomplish our end-to-end testing across applications, and our global DT is what helps us manage our data. It is set up at the test plan level. All the test case scenarios get pulled into our test plan, and the data set up at the test plan level gets pulled into our test sets. A data once created can be reused in all these different levels. Now let's look at the automation cycle. It starts with defining scope, where our experts will analyze the application, work with your SMEs to identify the business scenarios that will be automated, that can be part of the regression cycle. We will handle the environment setup for you. We'll gather information from your users. We'll gather the end-to-end stories. We'll identify consumable data and non-consumable data. And then we'll implement the regression test based on priority. Once it's all implemented, or as they get implemented, we deliver them to test for UAT. Further, we provide an ongoing support, help you maintain your regression beds, and also help in enhancements as requested. Now let's look at the resources and roles that are involved in implementing this framework. The most key role is an architect's role, who will be helping us in analyzing and designing the best approach for the application under test. The person will help us in customization and enhancements to the libraries depending upon client requirements. The architect will be the key resource who will be managing the framework for us. Test case designer, test plan designer, and test set designers can be anyone who is part of our team. They can all use ScriptLESS Add-in and create test plans, and test sets. Since it only takes a couple of clicks to create tests and test plans, they don't have to know VB scripting. They don't have to be experts with UFT. They will be able to implement our regression tests easily. Further, even though the framework is very simple, we do provide some initial training and yearly ongoing training, because we see that resources keep moving. So yearly training always helps. Coming to the most important part, today we'll be working with UFT, Excel, and the application under test is Oracle R12 EBS. The business process that we are using for this demo is launching and logging to Oracle EBS and creating a non-catalog request. We'll also show how easy it is to create tests for Java forms. The main focus of this demo will be creating tests, creating test plans, managing data for test plans, features of our GlobalDT, where we'll show you how you can review scenarios in one location, how you can view all the available test case scenarios, test plan scenarios in one location, and so on. We will also look at test plan execution and we'll review the results. So let's hop in. We'll show you how you can create tests for web as well as for Java forms. So I have Java forms open already. So let's first create tests for Java forms. So to create tests, all we have to do is click on create tests. So from the time you add your objects to the repository to the time it takes to create the test for any particular screen is 15 to 20 seconds. So we have all the objects. Looks good. We'll save this test, and in the next 15 to 20 seconds you will see that a test will be created with all the steps that are required for this particular screen. Per our framework, what we do is create tests for individual screens. It can be Java forms or it can be web pages, one test per screen, so that we can reuse them in any business process that we want to. So once you have created your test, all you have to do is save it. Let's now create another test for the next screen, assuming we want to create a new journal. So for this screen, we'll see once UFT comes up with a test for us, we have to add the object to the repository. Then you save it. Now have a test created in 15 seconds with more than 68 steps with parameters. Think about it, how quickly you could be able to create your test plans and test sets using this framework. Now that we have looked at Java forms, let's go and take a look at creating tests for web pages. Web pages also we use the same logic. We create one test per page, and it's the same process. You click on create test, and once you have a test, you will open the repository, add the objects. We don't add tables directly, we add only visible tables. So objects look good. We'll close it and we'll save it. And as you see, no matter what the application is, it's not just for Oracle. for any other application as well, test gets created within 15 to 20 seconds. It'll have a timestamp, and you'll have all the steps that's required to manage that particular screen. Let's go take a look at another module itself. Get to iExpense. Expense reports. Same process, create test. And per our framework, we also capture buttons. So whenever there are buttons, we add steps for them in our. But that's all customizable. If you don't want steps for buttons, we can customize it easily. And no matter what the screen or form, as I said before, takes 15 to 20 seconds to create a test. As far as we have seen today, it's all been less than 15 seconds. There's no test, no result. So it has timestamp, and it has all the steps to manage this particular screen. That's an overview of how you would be creating tests. Next, we'll see how we'll create test plans and then test set. So now that we have seen how we can create tests, we'll see how easy it is to create test plan using the add-in. Once we click on create test plan, UFT will create a test plan for us. Test plan, in this framework, test plans are nothing but groups of tests that we want for this particular business process. So creating a test plan for creating a non-catalog request. That's the scenario. So we're navigating from home page. We're going to the non-catalog request page. Very handy thing when we're doing this is our test case with the details on all the steps. Shopping cart. Then you'll add the confirmation. Depending upon your business process, you might have few more tests that go into this particular test plan, and that's okay. All you have to do is save. Once you save, you will be creating a GlobalDT for that particular test plan. Once we request to create a GlobalDT, we'll have a GlobalDT created for that particular test plan, and then we'll see the unique features of our GlobalDT. So the GlobalDT has all the tests that are part of this test plan and all the test case scenarios that they have within them. It is one place to see what are all the tests that we have, what are all the test data we have within this particular, within all the tests that's part of this particular test plan. Another unique feature is for anybody who wants to see what is this test plan doing, they can go to this test plan and they can see how are we navigating, what is happening in this. We are in the iProcurement home page, and then we are going to the non-catalog request page, then coming on to shopping cart, and then to the confirmation page. So you'll get a brief overview of what this particular test plan is doing for us. Coming to the run action, this is where our actual test plan scenarios will be created. It comes up with a default scenario, and each test has a default scenario. So you can right away run the scenario, which will create a non-catalog request for you. And adding a scenario is even more easier. So now that we know in the home page we want to navigate to non-catalog request, in the non-catalog request page, let's say we want to add one item, two item, third item, and then check out. Then in the shopping cart, we want to submit the requisition and then output the requisition and navigate home. And let's call this as NCR. So we have our NCR. That's all we have to do now. Update this to our UFT. Close this, and once we have our, all we have to do is provide the scenario name here and run this. Let's see if we are in the iProcurement page, because that is our prerequisite for this particular test plan. It has to be in the iProcurement module homepage. So now we'll run this one and we'll see that it navigates from the home page to the non-catalog request page, adds items 1, 2, 3, and then goes to the shopping cart page, submits the requisition, and then captures our requisition ID for us. It added our first item. It's adding the second item. I'm seeing at the item description and the quantities, they're all changing. So it's adding at the third item. You can also add a clear all step before this so that it clears it up and adds all individually. Now that we see all the 3 items, it will submit this requisition and capture this requisition ID for us, 16059, and it's navigating back home as instructed in the test plan scenario. So we'll update this. We'll see the data 16059. It captured the output, and that's all. So this particular test plan, this particular test business process is ready for us. You can add as many scenarios as you want. And another unique feature about this is, let's open our DT. We're not creating it this time, we're opening whatever we have. We'll refresh our DT. And another unique thing that I wanted to show was NCR. When a user comes in here and sees what is this NCR doing, he doesn't have to navigate to each test and see what goes into this one. He can click on show details, pick the name of the scenario, and he can see what exactly is going into this particular scenario. And it also has the same order as the test that's going into this particular scenario. We're navigating, what are we going, we're adding 3 items, we're going to the requisition, we are submitting the requisition, and then we are outputting the requisition. So you'll see how easy it is to capture any data issues that we have when we have a summary like this that is very specific for this particular scenario. Said that, I will save this. So now you saw how easy it was to create test plan, create the GlobalDT for it. It did not take more than a minute. And then how easy it was to add scenario, review the scenario details, and run the scenario as well. We did not look at the results. Let's see the results as well. So it took 1 minute 7 seconds. And it has details on what the scenario name was, what test case was run within each scenario, so that if there is any issues, it's very easy to go back and see where the issue is. And for any clicks and navigations away, you will always see a screenshot before and after, which is very helpful in actual reviewing before and then what was the after screen. There's only one item here, and then after it clicked on add, it added another item. So this is very helpful when we are trying to see what happened within this particular scenario. So that's for the results. And now you can see how easy it was to create the test, how easy it was to put together a test plan, update its data, and also run it. So you can see how easy it would be to get your regression test beds ready with this add-in. So now that we looked into how easy it was creating test plans and the GlobalDT, we want to share with you the services we offer. We provide consulting services for test automation. We'll analyze your application, work with your SMEs, and determine the processes that can be part of the regression bed. We'll identify the ones that can be automated, and we'll also help in identifying the risk and prioritization. We provide implementation services with or without using our ScriptLESS add-in. We also help customers automate custom in-house applications that are not completely supported by UFT out of the box. The custom add-ins help prevent scripting. They will help us in creating tests easily. They will also make object identification easier. The object repository will be much cleaner. So these custom add-ins can be created for Windows-based applications, web-based applications, Java-based applications, for applications that the extensibility tool provided by Micro Focus is supported. The last thing we want to discuss with you today is to share with you why we think we should be chosen to implement your automation testing. We have architects with over 20 years of experience implementing automation using ALM and UFT. We have access to a pool of engineers. Further, we have customized support. We have a dedicated manager for each client who will be managing the entire implementation. Hopefully you like the framework and you want to know more about it. We'll be very happy to get in touch and prove our framework in your environment. Proof of concept can be done for any application of your choice and it is free. You can get in touch with us by sending an email to support@scriptlessautomation.com. Thank you for your time. We really do appreciate you reviewing our framework with us today. Thank you.